3 months ago, I got fired. I honestly didn't know what was next. It's been a year since living in Dallas, trying to figure out life, and I felt like God was calling me back to entrepreneurship, even though I wasn't sure I was ready. So I want to sit down and share a real life update because so much has changed over the last 6 months. If you told me 6 months ago that I'd be living in Dallas, navigating getting fired, rebuilding my business, and spending more time with God, I probably wouldn't have believed you. The season hasn't been easy, but it has been beautiful. God has been teaching me what it really means to trust Him when I don't have all the answers. I've been rediscovering my passion for entrepreneurship, working as a fashion stylist and wardrobe editor, learning to slow down, and honestly just figuring out life one day at a time. So grab a coffee, get comfortable, and let's catch up because I have a lot to share with you.
You wanna be my love, baby, gotta take it slow. You wanna be my love.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, my name is Jamelia Kabibi, and today I'll be giving you guys a 6-month update and everything that has been taking place in my life 1 year living in Dallas. So you will see me picking up these flashcards from time to time because your girl can talk, all right? I can talk and I don't want to just go on and go on and go on. I just want to ensure that I am letting you guys know it all while just being able to speak about each, I would say, pivotal moment within my life during this season. So let's get into it. I know you're ready to hear it all. So it has now been 1 year and 4 months since I've been living in Dallas. I have recently, been walking back in entrepreneurship where I'm working as a fashion stylist and wardrobe editor. I've been doing that now for the past 3 months consistently, I would say. And the reason why I say consistently because I have had this business for 10 years, but I haven't been as active or promoting it actively. And of course, like I would say, just moving here to Texas, I was working with clients in my building, which was really great. So I'm like, hey, I don't necessarily need to go out and so forth. It'll be more of like a word of mouth type of thing, which it has been. And I'm super grateful. I was working at a clothing store for 10 months. And this really gave me the opportunity to meeting new people. And I was so excited. Well, I wasn't excited about the job necessarily because I didn't want to work in retail again. I was like, I'm over this. This chapter is over. But unfortunately, I was like, there was nothing that I could have found that was remote at the time that would help me still continue with my business as well as a place to say be flexible and do whatever it was that I wanted here, like traveling back and forth to Florida and New York. So I ended up taking the job opportunity, and honestly, it just started all wrong. And I was just like, God, you called me here and I'm going to see what it is that you're trying to teach me in this season. In that season, I definitely learned more about character development and things that the Lord was even showing me about myself that I also needed to work on. And, most times, especially when there is a job that I don't like necessarily, I would say, okay, that's it. I'm going to put in my 2 weeks notice. But this was the one time that I actually stuck it out and was like, okay, Lord, I'm waiting on you to tell me when it is to move. And right when I was getting ready to just quit and put in my 2 weeks notice, that's when I get a call from Jay Bolin. And he offered to me an opportunity for Oscars week. And I was like, wow, this is going to be great. He did inform me that, hey, you would have to cover your own travel expenses as well as hotel accommodations. And I was just like, hey, I just remember just falling to my knees and was like, thank you, Lord. So that night I booked my flight ticket. I didn't book my hotel till a couple of days later because I wanted to ensure I knew what hotel they were going to stay at so that I can ensure that I'm close to them and not having to Uber. If you guys know, LA is, oh my, the traffic is insane. So I was just like, yeah, I don't want to deal with that. And I would just make sure everything is in walking distance. So I was able to stay at the same hotel that they were during the time. And it was such a great experience. And just within me taking that leap of faith, the Lord said, okay, now I'm going to bless you with your clients. And my clients that I haven't spoken to in a while, or even new clients that I had met, had called me that same week and booked me for the following month. And I was like, wow, I can't believe this is happening. So the whole entire time, God was just waiting for my obedience and stepping out in faith, because I was being fearful. I was just like, oh my, can I really do entrepreneurship again? Is this sure? Is there certainty and so forth? But God was like, are you not believing in me? And I was doubting myself that, hey, I had this business, there were ups and downs, and I don't know if I can do this again. So the Lord had just opened that door and used Jay as a vessel for me to really just walk back into entrepreneurship. And during that time in LA, I was able to work with In Vogue, Brandy, Lindsay Davis. It was just such a cool experience. And I was just like, I couldn't believe this was my life happening right before my eyes. It was just like everything was just happening so quickly, and it just all happened so suddenly. And I was like, wow, thank you, Lord. And it goes way beyond working with the celebrities. It was just being in the room with the garments and the shoes and the accessories and being able to dress people. That is the part of this in which I love. Like, I get back to Dallas that Tuesday and I returned to work, and I informed them like, hey guys, I'll be coming in. So as soon as I landed, I just came home, dropped off my stuff, freshened up, and made it into work. And 15 minutes into me being at the job, the director calls me outside, and then I see a HR personnel. He informed me that, hey, that will be my last day. And, it wasn't working out. I wasn't hitting my sales goals. And he also made mentions of my attendance, which I had at the time. So I'm not sure why I couldn't put in, my vacation days or personal days, especially if I was reporting to work. But hey, I guess, just him seeing, me in LA at that time, it definitely did build frustration. And I felt like it was something that he felt like I could have come to him and spoken to him in that moment of time. And honestly, I didn't want to share this news with anyone. I kept this from even my family until I actually landed to LA and I saw that this opportunity was happening, because I was like, you know what? Sometimes we don't want people just destroying just the root of something before we actually see it sprouting up and being planted. So I was very protective of that and was just like, in this moment of time, I'm just going to stay silent. And then once I get there and I'm in the motions of things, this is when I'm going to just, let everyone know the exciting news. So unfortunately, he did see, in social media where I was, what I was doing. And yeah, as a result of that, he decided to let me go, which honestly, I was not disappointed. I did not feel fearful, because I was thinking that week, I was like, okay, am I going to put in my 2 weeks notice this Friday? What am I going to do? But I did already sense that he was going to let me go, which also just gave me that sense of peace and security. And just knowing that the Lord was calling me back to entrepreneurship, I felt in ease, because I'm like, this has nothing to do with me. This is right now way bigger than I can ever imagine. And I just knew in this moment of time, I just had to put all my faith in the Lord for him to provide. Coming back to Dallas, I was only here for about 4 days, and then I was booked again, and I went right back to LA, which was amazing. And I was there for about a week or 2 weeks, and I was like, Lord, I cannot believe this is happening right now. I couldn't believe that this was all happening. It was, like I said, it was just so suddenly. And it was just really making me see, when I hear people say, he's a sudden God, where everything that you have been praying for, everything that you have been working towards, just happening in just that snap of a finger. And it's like the Lord was like, this is what I was preparing you for. Who would have ever thought that this was the way that I was going to walk back into entrepreneurship? Not only saying I'm, yes, working for myself, but doing what it is that I love and what God has given me purpose through. So I'm ecstatic, guys. I am just in awe for words. I'm extremely grateful for all of the opportunities and the people that have been meeting, and I'm just looking forward to this next chapter. So as of last year, I decided to fully surrender and give my life to Christ. And it was, I would say this time around, it was not a difficult decision. And I felt like because I had matured so much and I changed so much. So a lot of the things in which I felt like I was once extremely happy or found joy in was no longer pleasing to me as a person. I no longer cared to party. I no longer cared to drink. I no longer cared to smoke. Not that I was a smoker, but I would smoke occasionally, So it was just those things that I was no longer finding interest. Even just like, just dating. I was just like, you know what, Lord, I just want to give all of me to you, and I want to live a righteous life, and I will do whatever it takes. And that's when the Lord was like, well, you got to move. And I couldn't believe it that he told me to move. And now I'm here in Dallas 1 year later, and this is the way that I can speak. Who would have ever thought that? And I can say with me being here in Dallas, I have grew a deeper intimacy, a deeper relationship with the Lord, and have seen so much great things happening in my life. And yes, I would say this road was not easy. There were very sad moments. There were times that I felt alone, even though I wasn't alone. And just moments where I was just extremely baffled by like what was taking place in my life. Like, I'm like, Lord, what is happening here? And I'm really being given the opportunity and the chance to not start over, but to start again from where I left off. Think about all of the days in which I fasted, I prayed, and I just really stuck into my word. I was like, God, like I would not have been able to do this without you. Even moving to this city without friends or family. I do have family that live about like 30 minutes to an hour away, but there was very so often that I get to see them. So technically I was just like moving to this city, just as a single woman, just trying to navigate this new space, navigate just this new journey. And I am super, super proud of myself for taking that leap of faith and being obedient to the Lord, because this is the place in which I call my Rehoboth, where I have really learned, the ways of the Lord. I have really had a change in heart posture. The Lord just working on me from the inside out. And I am at peace. I feel so great. And this is the reason why I'm here now, being able to speak to you guys in this way, because there were so many things that I was holding myself back from, right? I was doing YouTube since 2016, and I just kept on going back and forth, posting and deleting, posting, taking time away. And that was because I didn't necessarily know how to be present in the moment of my pain, in the moments of, when I'm going through hardships. Yes, I was able to do that, like, with friends and family. And I'm grateful for the supportive friends and family that I do have. But I just was not able to be in that place where I could be vulnerable with you guys and just speak from this place. Also another thing that was important to me was just also me taking time away from ministry, right? So I was also hosting my own Bible study on, a chat, Zoom call. And then I also did have, where I was also one of the leaders here at the Bible study in my building. And just also going to church, basically Monday through Friday sometimes, or Monday through Sunday, because I was either in Bible study or going to fellowship, whatever it may have been. And the Lord definitely told me, like, he was like, you have to step back. I just need you to hear from me right now. And that in itself was very baffling, because I'm like, Lord, how do I walk away from these things? What are people going to think? Like, and he was like, it doesn't matter what they think. It's what I'm telling you to do. And even in that season of consecration was where I even heard the Lord's voice even louder. And I remember just praying and crying out to the Lord, like, Lord, show me my purpose. Show me my purpose. Tell me what it is that you want me to do, and I'll do it. Tell me where it is that you want me to go, and I will go. And I know that he knew that he could trust me, because I will. Because if anybody had told me I would have been in Dallas a year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, no, yeah, right. So this is me just being obedient to the calling of the Lord and doing what it is that he has asked me to do. Yes, entrepreneurship again. So I never really closed my business. I only closed the clothing aspect of it when I had the clothing store in New York and I was doing pop-ups. That I was no longer feeling fulfilled about. And I did transition into a closet editing and personal styling business, which I absolutely love. And I remember my first client was a film director. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Okay, God, I see what you're doing for your girl. Clients of elevation, it's so great. But I was still 1 foot in and 1 foot out with the Lord. Like, I didn't fully surrender. So it was like, yes, I was attaining things quickly. I was attaining, financial abundance and all these great things. But it was quickly pulled away because he wasn't in every aspect of my life. And I also needed to surrender not only myself, but my business. I can definitely say this time around, walking with the Lord and, building out my business, I have been gaining, I would say, intentional clients. I'm being also very more intentional with the way that I also work with people. I've also been intentional about the jobs that I do accept. So it has been such a learning experience, and all of the things that I have learned in the past seasons and the things that I have done wrong, because not it could have just been that it was a premature moment, right? So a lot of the things in which I've done then can work for this season in my business, right? So learning all of those things and just even refreshing some new skills and doing lots of reading. I've been reading a lot more. I've been journaling more, so that also has been helping. But this time around in entrepreneurship, I feel good. I feel good. I'm pretty confident, and that is because my confidence comes from the Lord, and I wait on him to give me the strategy, to give me the tools, and just give me even that unction on when it is to move, right? What it is to do, who it is that I should speak to, and not just trying to build relationships on my own, but just ensuring that he's directing those people to me. Life in Dallas has been fun. So I know a lot of people have been asking me, what is the dating scene like? What is it that you do for fun? So I am not actively dating. I haven't been dating now going on 2 years. And it's a great place to be in because everyone, whether it's my mom or my friends or even my sister and her husband, they're like, hey, what's happening? Time is ticking. And I'm like, hey, guys, like I hear that, but the time is all appointed to the Lord. Like, I'm just waiting on his timing. And when he says it's that time, then I'll be ready to go. But I feel like I am open to dating. It's not something that I'm just like, hey, I'm going to just be working constantly. I do go out more now. So some of my friends and I, will go out, whether it's hiking or we'll go to like a coffee shop or a restaurant out to dinner. And I also do take myself out. So just the other day I celebrated just 6 months into this year, just walking into entrepreneurship. I took myself to a really nice dinner. And because of the way that my flexibility is now with my job, sometimes I work remotely in cafes and just been making much more use of my time here rather than just working from home all the time. And I don't really party, so that's not really something, of my liking. But I do go to lots of jazz lounges, and there is a jazz lounge by the name of Triumph, which I love. I would say breakfast burritos are so good, and their chai lattes are chef's kiss. So those are two of the things that I enjoy going there for. But on Fridays and Saturdays, I sometimes just pop over just to see what's going on. So that is one of my favorite places to go. And even for my birthday last year, we went to this place called Chocolate Secrets, and the jazz night was so beautiful. So I have been building really great community here, which I am super grateful for. Especially the building that I do live in is very community oriented. So it makes things a tad bit easier. And I'm not an introvert. I'm like an introvert extrovert. So it all depends on, I feel like the space, I feel like the atmosphere of the people. And then I'm like, okay, I know I should speak to that person. They seem cool. And I'll take it from there. So that has been great. So I would say my life here in Dallas is beautiful. I love my space. I have created it into, my home, my sanctuary, just creating a space that makes me feel alive, even when I am working from home. And you guys know I dress up all the time in the house and so forth. So that has also been great. So I'm enjoying my life here in Dallas. So in this season, I do believe that the Lord has been teaching me these things, that not every closed door is rejection, which is a plus, because there's times in which when we think that, a door has been closed or we don't get this opportunity, that means it's an end all be all. And that's not the case. It's just a redirection. I don't get overwhelmed or anything like that, because I know that the Lord has something better in store for me. So I just focus on the now. And another thing that he has taught me is delays does not mean denial, right? there's oftentimes, and even right now in this waiting season of me, like, just waiting for my husband, that is something that a lot of people don't understand. And they're like, oh, I wonder why she's not dating. I wonder why she doesn't have a man. And it's not necessarily that I've done anything necessarily wrong, or, it's just that this is my season of, like, singleness. And whenever the Lord sees it fit, I will be introduced to that person. So I'm just enjoying it for the most part, and just realizing that, yes, the delay sometimes is needed because it's God forms of protection. And I don't want to move prematurely and do anything outside of the will of the Lord. Another thing that he has taught me in this season is my career is not attached to my identity. And many times I think we tend to become what it is that we do, right? I feel like I'm always been a fashionable person and so forth, but there's times and moments when I know how to shut it off, because sometimes, hey, all I want to talk about is fashion or the next project or this and that. And I'm like, nope, there has to be a boundary. There has to be a time and a place, and there needs to be a balance. So that's when I'll just, shut off my phone. I'll go out on a long walk. I'll go to the pool, or just find something new to do. So realizing that has definitely helped a lot. Another thing that he has taught me in this season is obedience matters more than having everything figured out. And whew, guys, your girl, I was one of those people. I was like, okay, this has to be this. This has to be that. This has to be this. But all in all, the Lord was just asking for my obedience. And once I was obedient and just really abiding by his word is when I started seeing things ease, and I felt the burden being lifted. Obedience is key. And lastly, what the Lord has also taught me in this season is God can restore all of the years in which you thought your dreams were over. Whew. Because let me tell you, your girl, I had it. And I really thought that I was not ever going to walk back into this place. I didn't think that I was going to be, a fashion stylist or wardrobe editor. I didn't think these things. I just was like, Lord, I'm signing it off. I don't want to hear about fashion. I remember even at my birthday dinner, I kind of got a little offended by a friend, because she's like, oh, I see you going to London and doing fashion. I'm like, nope, that is out of the question. I'm going back to school. I'm going to get my PhD, and that is it. Fashion, I'm done with it. But no. I am literally seeing everything that I had prayed for the past 20 years come to life now. Or even things that I prayed about 10 years ago, 5 years ago, manifest. And I'm like, Lord, thank you that you see me fit for this. And I remember the end of last year, actually, the Lord just kept on reinstating this verse to me, Isaiah 43:19. Behold, I will do a new thing and spring forth. And I will even carry you through the wilderness and the rivers. And I'm literally seeing the Lord do a new thing in my life. And I am grateful, guys. I am grateful. I'm grateful for the community that I have been building here. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my friends that have been rocking out with me throughout these years. I'm even grateful for the people that have even caused me pain. And I'm just thankful for the Lord for forgiving me and just allowing me now to walk in obedience. The journey has not been easy, but he has made it much lighter. Much lighter. So yes, I know that you guys are probably wondering what's the next. So I just want to continue building out my fashion business and praying to the Lord that this opens up many other doors and that I can be a blessing to others. I will be in Dallas for some time. I don't think I'm moving anytime soon. And hopefully, by the end of this year, you'll probably guys hear me saying I'm dating someone, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I just want to continue being great, and I just want to be in alignment and obedient to the Lord. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Enjoy.